I am live. I'm reading A Lot to Remember. I'm still at chapter 19, I believe this is, Terror by Night. And there is not very much left. It was a bit of a cliffhanger. This book was written by Joan Marshall Grant, and it describes her journeys to Lot, which is an area in France. She has written as a dedication with love for a lot to remember to her husbands Denys and Charles. She passed away in 1989. This was published in 1962. So this is about Charles. And she is going to, she was following her inkling and is sitting on a bench. From these heights have many men died. Why bother to tell me this when I knew it already? Soldiers were thrown from these walls by other soldiers who stormed the castle, but the ghost I have come to free was not a soldier. The scene changes. Now it is not soldiers who kill each other. Men are dying because of the rivalries of dogma. 11 have been adjudged heretics, and churchmen have given them into the power of the executioner, who has 40 soldiers with him to see that the sentences are carried out. The prisoners are to die by falling from the cliff. A refinement of cruelty, because this is the death imposed only on traitors to La Popie. The executioner is a dark, squat man with his face deeply pockmarked. He reads out 11 names. Each man in turn goes nobly to his death. One of them even whistles as he strolls to the edge. How can he whistle? Surely his mouth must be too dry with a foretaste of death. Another of them is even more gallant. He stands poised on the brink with his hands above his head and shouts to the crowd, "Now for a high dive before I go for a long swim in the river." The last victim is a boy of 16. It is he who inspired the others to revolt against dogma, but now his courage falters. He stares at the executioner and cries out, "I'm not ready to die yet. Give me more time, more time. I have not finished my prayers." The executioner takes a pace forward. The crowd, huddled together, weeping, begins to pray aloud. The executioner takes another pace forward, and, as though there were an iron bar between them, the boy involuntarily takes a pace back. The boy's torn nerves wring a scream from his parched throat. "Allez, allez!" But instead of halting, the executioner inexorably takes yet another pace forward. The ground seems to crumble under the boy's feet, and the prayers of the people of La Popie surge up into the air. They find his body lying dead at the foot of the cliff, but not a bone of it is broken, and on the flesh there are no bruises. The face is serene, smiling, and the people whisper of a miracle. The men who had seen this become men again instead of cattle. And that night they fought against those who had come to subdue them in the name of religion, and to the executioner they accorded the death he had inflicted. Again a man is being driven over the cliff, but this victim is the executioner, who is not brave. He screams as he reads the eyes of the men and women of La Popie, who, in a narrowing semicircle, close in upon him, pace by pace. "Allez, allez, allez!" His voice is shrill with terror, as though it were the voice of a woman or a boy screaming for pity. But there is no pity for him, for he had been pitiless. Now has the time come for his ghost to be set free of his fear. I knew it was I who had spoken these words involuntarily. I checked myself and silently asked that I need go no further, and in silence heard the answer, "It is not for you to question. It is for you to feel and to bring all you know of love into your feeling." No, I cannot. Why should his ghost go free? How can I feel compassion for that man, that manner of a man? He is in fear, and fear is the great enemy. Free him from the fear, free him from the enemy in the name of love. Be brave in love and take upon yourself his fear, so that he may overcome it. I tried to do so, but such a dreadful vertigo assailed me that I jerked my eyes open, thinking that it was I who was being driven backwards, pace by slow pace, to the cliff's edge. To my intense relief, I saw Charles. "We got here half a minute ago," he said, "but you were too far out to hear us." "Don't worry about the others." I explained about the screams I heard and how I hoped you would be able to do something about it. They understand, so go ahead. It was reassuring to know that they would look after my body for me. Margot was sitting beside me, and Julian was lying on the ledge at my feet, so that even if I toppled forward, I could not fall over the cliff. I heard Charles tell me he had a notebook with him, and then kept on sufficient contact to know that I was recording what I experienced, although my voice sounded to me as though the words were being spoken in the distance. Fear is the great enemy, but love is stronger than fear. Let this man's fear enter into me, so that in the strength of my heart and in the love of my fellow men, his fear, which falls like a stone into the dark river, can become light as the wings of a swallow, blessed of thy river and thy air. Having made my invocation, I was able to achieve that degree of identification which enabled me to speak directly to the man I had come to free. "I have come to tell you that there is no longer any cause for fear. Now you can see the glory of the high place and know the cliff only as the home of swallows. You are no longer the man who fell, for you can rest on the air as though on a goose-feather bed. You have not fallen. You do not lie at the foot of the cliff. There is no fear in you and no pain. Walk with me and feel the moss under your feet. Come with me to the river and I will give you water, and from the fields beyond the river I will give you grain to make your own bread. If there is still a stain of spilt blood upon you, I will give you of my blood fresh and clean to wash you, for I give you my love freely, to take it and go from here free. Bless you in the name of the gods whose name is in the rocks and in the grass and in the swallows, whose name is in the water and in the fire and in the air. Bless you. But remember that, like all blessings, this cannot endure even for an instant unless it lives by the love in your own heart. Chapter 20 is entitled Evensong, and that will be the next chapter I'm reading. Have a good, today is Tuesday the 12th of November.